Welcome to the KuppingerCole Analyst Chat. I'm your host. My name is Matthias. I'm the director of the practice IAM here at KuppingerCole Analysts. And talking of IAM, my guest today is Nitish Deshpande. He is the author of the upcoming or now published Leadership Compass around IGA. Hi, Nitish. Good to have you.
Hi, Matthias. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, great to have you. I've mentioned that you just took over the role of creating the Leadership Compass, and it's just called IGA. I remember earlier versions covered different segments of the topic IGA. So what constitutes IGA today? What was the definition of IGA as a market segment when you started writing your Leadership Compass?
Absolutely, I can elaborate on that. So IGA, as you know, Identity Governance and Administration, it refers to increasingly integrated identity lifecycle management and access governance markets. Today, what we saw is that there are still some organizations either looking at replacements of user access provisioning, identity lifecycle management, or identity and access governance. But most are opting for a comprehensive IGA solution to tackle risks originating from inefficient access governance features. And what we have also seen is one of the adoption patterns is in the market is a managed service achieving a fulfillment through identity lifecycle management. And access governance is run by within the organization itself to retain absolute control on all the access governance features. In most of the cases where there is no need for both, IGA products are preferred over provisioning or governance-only solutions to achieve the desired mix of ILM and access governance capabilities. So that's what we have tried to cover in this report about the market and the changes that it is happening in here.
I'm doing identity and access management for quite a while, and the IGA market is around for quite a while as well. It has changed over time. We have covered cloud and on-premises separately before, but overall, IGA is a topic that's around for quite a while. Why is it so important now? Why does it require an IGA Leadership Compass as of now? Why is it so important?
Absolutely. It's been around for a while and it's ever evolving. Every year we are seeing new changes. And identity lifecycle management remains a core IAM component, but access governance is becoming a more sought out feature, a capability, you can say, for organizations requiring better visibility of identity administration and access entitlements across its IT infrastructure. And I think IGA concerns the capabilities in IAM market that broadly deal with end-to-end lifecycle management. Then you have access entitlements, then management of policies, workflows, roles, as well as access certifications. And then you have other things like the segregation of duties, risk analysis, auditing, as well as some access intelligence features for business-related insights. And all of these come together and help in making effective decision and potentially enhance the governance of the organization. So this topic remains to be relevant and important, and that's what you have tried to highlight in this report as well.
Yeah, and I think many organizations are now facing real legal regulatory requirements that need such a tool just to meet these requirements. When you created that report, what was your main focus? Was there a specific market segment to focus on, or was it a broader perspective?
So when we started creating this report a few months back, the primary focus remained vendors that offer both identity lifecycle management and access governance capabilities, either as a common product or separate, but kind of like an integrable product component. And they help to deliver capabilities across IGA complete spectrum. And as I mentioned before, we have seen new adoption trends. Then also we have changing customer priorities and deployment patterns. So we decided on this leadership compass with a holistic approach. And I would say this report, you can say, focuses and helps the security leaders to identify the relevant IAM priorities and subsequently shortlist the appropriate vendors who will fulfill their IAM priorities.
Right. When you said you looked at the broader market of all the vendors that provide services across these two segments that you said, so identity lifecycle management plus access governance, there have been many changes in the market, but is it a growing market? Or to put it easily, how many vendors had you to look at?
It's definitely a growing market. We are seeing new compared to last year's report. If you take, for example, we have 12% new vendors in this report alone. And in the last year's report, there were, I think, more than 25% more vendors compared to the other previous year. So this is an ever-growing market. New vendors are coming into this IGA space with, I would say, innovative features. So one of the focus also of this report was looking at the innovation of each vendor, what kind of features they're providing, what is their future roadmap, are they, you can say, complying or satisfying the requirements of the customers and the future requirements. For example, one of the other things which you have seen in this report is more and more incorporation of AI and machine learning. So that has been also one of the areas where we have tried to address this report and highlight if any vendor specializes in these features. So definitely this market is growing. And once the report is published, I think the viewers can definitely see who are the vendors, who are the leaders. I would say, in my opinion, all 25 are leaders there in this report. They're really good. But when you put all 25 of the best leaders, best vendors in one place, someone is going to come out on top, someone will be at the bottom. But that's how it is. But I think viewers will definitely get a good insight in the IGA market.
Absolutely. And as we always say, when it comes to leadership compasses, these evaluations that we do, they are based on generic criteria that you applied during your research. That can be different for an organization that is looking for their own solution, for solving their own requirements and their own challenges. So using the metrics that you provide and applying your own A, common sense, B, requirements from an organization might lead to different results. So that is of importance. And we use your market data, your research data also for advisory purposes to make sure that we identify the right solution. Just because a solution is in the upper right corner of some matrix does not mean that it's the perfect one for you. So otherwise the decision would be very easy. Unfortunately, it is not. When we look at the market participants that you've mentioned, are these the usual suspects? Are these the one identity ForgeRock's in the world, or are there new names? How does this market? What does this market comprise of?
Yeah, so in the IGA market, what we have seen is a combination of both. So we have the traditional players, the ones, as you mentioned, are one identity, then others like SailPoint. But we do also have a few new vendors coming into this space, and they have surprised us with their innovation. So that's one of the reasons they are included in this report. And once the report is out, I think our viewers will like to find out who are these new vendors. And so we have tried to give a very neutral approach to everyone, as we always do, and it's quite an easy report to go through because, for example, we have also tried to map out strengths and challenges of every vendor. And as you mentioned, one customer wants a requirement which could be one vendor's strength, could be another's challenge. So could be a mix of both. But I think we have tried to cover as much as possible in this market, in this report.
Although this is a mature market and you're covering that for the first time and building on the work of Richard, who did the recent edition of this document, and Martin, so it's an update. Nevertheless, it was a full new research. Was there something striking that you came across when it comes to what the market delivers and where the trends are leading to?
As you mentioned, this was my first time making this report, and for me, one of the things which was striking for me was the innovation in all the vendors. For me, all the vendors are really involved in innovation and they have a very defined roadmap for the next 24 months, and it's filled with innovation. So that was also very encouraging to see that there is IGA market still growing, and there's possibility for new features, new capabilities addressing multiple requirements. So that was definitely fascinating as well. So I had a great time analyzing all the vendors and coming to a solution. I hope our viewers can go through it and they can refer to it as per the requirements.
Absolutely. And if there are any questions regarding that topic or regarding that podcast in general, or if you want to suggest topics for this podcast, but if you have a specific question towards this Leadership Compass, please leave your questions. When you're watching this on YouTube, just leave it in the comment section. We'll have a look at that and we will get back to you. If you're listening to this in the audio version on the podcatcher of your choice, there will be the show notes where there are contact information where you can reach out to us, or just go to the website KuppingerCole.com and reach out to Nitish or me. And while you're there, try to have a 30 days test subscription, or just do the regular subscription, which is really affordable. Have a look at the Leadership Compass IGA as provided by Nitish. This is a great read, and it covers all of what we've talked about and so much more. So, and I assume, Nitish, it was quite an amount of work. It was quite an amount of work, right?
Definitely. I mean, it involved very extensive analysis on all kinds of capabilities of every kind of vendor. So I hope our viewers can go through it and find it insightful for their requirements.
Absolutely. So thank you very much, first, for your effort for creating that document, and second, for being my guest today and sharing your insights into the creation and the results of the Leadership Compass IGA that just has been published. So reach out to our website, reach out to Nitish and me in case of any questions. And I'm looking forward to having you soon in a second episode. Thank you, Nitish, for being my guest for the first time today.
Thank you so much for having me, and looking forward to the next one.
Thanks, and bye-bye.